The trade deadline smoke around Giannis Antetokounmpo is at an all-time high because Shams is out here naming the strongest suitors for Giannis Antetokounmpo as the Warriors, Heat, Wolves, and Knicks. And Brian Windhorst is saying that Golden State may have the strongest package out of all of those teams. But even that, we're hearing that Giannis Antetokounmpo may prefer a trade to the Philadelphia 76ers. We're also talking about why the Spurs and Rockets are reportedly out on trading for Giannis, and Jayson Tatum's Achilles rehab may not be going in the way that leads him to making a return this season. We'll talk about all that and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Aaron Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And he was on Inside the NBA, and Shams listed the Knicks, Wolves, and Heat and Warriors as the strongest suitors right now for Giannis Antetokounmpo, saying that these teams could be the one that put the best trade packages out for Giannis, and we'll see. Now, the Warriors have been linked to a number of teams in regards, a number of players in regards to high-priced superstars over the years. They ended up making their all-in move for Jimmy Butler last year, which is solidly enough. The question is which one of these teams can put a package together that's decent enough or not decent enough, that's good enough for the Milwaukee Bucks to pull the trigger on, right? So, if this trade is to happen here before the trade deadline, meaning that it does not wait till the 2026 draft, where the Milwaukee Bucks may have a better grasp on exactly where all these picks are going to sit at, what do each one of these teams have to offer? I want to start with the Golden State Warriors only because Brian Windhorst had mentioned on NBA Today, he said this: the Golden State Warriors are a team that immediately rises to the top of the list. As far as the teams that can make a straight-up trade with the Bucks, the Warriors hold all their future draft assets. They can trade all of them. So let's look at what that means for the – I just want to start here with the Golden State Warriors, right? Just because of that, we'll talk about some of the other teams, even some of the teams that Giannis himself has said that he may be focused on. So they have Jimmy Butler that they can offer in that, Jonathan Kuminga, and then they have a number of first-round picks that they can send in that move. First-round picks that go from 2028, 2030, 2032, and 2031, if I'm not mistaken. Something in there, some combination. 2026, 2028, 2032, and 2030. Hayes, do math. Steffian rule. So those are the picks that they can offer. And I think when you look at this, right, it matters to me if the Warriors trade package is going to legitimately be the best. It really hinges on how highly do the Milwaukee Bucks judge the picks that are off the Steph Curry years, right? Many people will remember that Steph Curry only has, 2 years left on his contract. That's the window that they have been trying to live in the Golden State Warriors. So not only will they get a pick, though, in 2026, which is still in a deep draft, even if it ends up lower, but those off Steph years picks, when Steph is finally gone and he's retired, that contract is over with, how much do they value those years? Steph's contract is up at the end of the 2026-27 season, which means that the 2028 pick, the 2030 pick, the 2032 pick, those picks all are years where theoretically Steph is not going to be there. And I think that's what you have to look at. When you look at the Golden State Warriors roster right now, they have no young player on this team that you're looking at that's going to be able to take over the reins and turn this team into a playoff team between now and then. So even if with them not having their pick, so 2026, that would be a pick that goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. 2027 pick would be a pick that stays with the Golden State Warriors, but at the same time, that's still a year where Steph is going to be here, meaning that Steph is, they're still going to be built around Steph. 2027-28, at the end of that season, going into the 2028 year, no Steph there. He's an unrestricted free agent. So how much they view those picks and how valuable they think and how bad they think the Warriors can be at the end of that Steph Curry era, that is going to be the determining factor there, I think, for the Milwaukee Bucks. I still don't know if it gets them outwardly the best contract, if it's still the best offer, but it does make an interesting case because of the window that they have there. And because of that window, and because you'd be taking back Jonathan Kuminga, who technically you can get off that contract this year, Jimmy Butler, who only has 1 year left on his contract after this year, is that worth waiting for a Golden State Warriors team that could be very bad over that time? That's what you have to look at yourself, right? And that's what it comes down to for the Golden State Warriors. Let's look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have veterans that they can offer. They don't have necessarily a lot of young pieces. I look at the Timberwolves, especially as being a team that has no first-round pick they can trade. They can only offer pick swaps. They would have to get a third team involved, meaning that could you reroute Rudy Gobert to another team that then gets you, a first-round pick that you can send to Milwaukee? Same thing maybe for Julius Randle. Do you want Julius Randle and Giannis on your team? Maybe you move Julius Randle. You do some of that. You do have young players in Rob Dillingham. I think you try to keep Juan Berenger in that case, but you have those. But the Wolves probably have the weakest package here as far as offers that they can make the Milwaukee Bucks, because they just don't have any picks. They don't have super young talented players either. Hell, we've heard that they're trying to move off of Rob Dillingham because he's not good. There's a void there at point guard. They can't fill it because he's not ready yet. So I don't know how much the Wolves offer can get you, right? So there's that. The Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are interesting because they have Khalil Ware that they can offer. They have Tyler Hero, which, while is a player that you maybe look to reroute later and they can try to get more picks back, the Miami Heat also can offer, I think, 2 outward picks and a bunch of pick swaps as well. And I think it comes down to how well do you view the young players that they have there. Milwaukee Bucks covet young players in this case. Jaime Jaquez, Khalil Ware, Nikola Jovic, right? Those are 3 very enticing young players, as well as with 3 unprotected first-round picks that the Miami Heat can offer. That's a really solid offer. And I do think the Miami Heat offer something that maybe the other teams don't. Well, we'll see. But, as far as Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, that is a situation where Giannis looks at it and says, no, I absolutely want to go there, and I'll sign an extension there, because that's another wrinkle in all this as well. If Giannis says a team that's calling like, yeah, I'm not going to extend there, the team's probably not going to trade for him. And then as far as the New York Knicks, Karl-Anthony Towns is a big cherry chip. Now, I don't know how much that entices the Bucks, but much like with the Wolves, you could look to make a 3-team trade to send Karl-Anthony Towns another place. Once you get in that, you reroute to the Milwaukee Bucks to get that done. They have players that they can offer in that case. They have the contracts that they can match. That's not the problem. The pick compensation is a little bit shaky, right? But they do have the best player probably in that, and being able to offer Karl-Anthony Towns, they just have to send him to a team that wants him and needs his services, and then those first-round picks can be rerouted to Milwaukee. So that's what you're looking at as far as the teams that Shams mentioned. But then, on top of all of that, we did get word as well that the teams that Giannis could potentially be interested in, and that goes to the place this. Reportedly, and this is according to Mark Stein, who says that Giannis Antetokounmpo has had the Minnesota Timberwolves on his list of teams he would be interested in joining dating back to last offseason. Sources tell the Stein line, Antetokounmpo finds the idea of teaming up with Anthony Edwards appealing to him. Giannis feels similarly with Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. So let's get this part of it. The 76ers. This is a team that's on the rise this season. Tyrese Maxey has made himself a legit MVP candidate level player, right? You also look at the young players that they have. Now, would they be willing to part with VJ Edgecombe to get Giannis Antetokounmpo? I don't know about it. I have no idea. 76ers fans, if you're listening to this, please sound off. Let me know how you guys feel on this when it comes down to it, right? But that's an interesting case in this, right? Of course, they have, players like Joel Embiid and stuff like that, whatever, with apparently Antetokounmpo and Joel Embiid actually work out together. So there's that interest in that part there, which is funny. So you can look at that part of it. But they don't have necessarily the huge draft selections. They have their own first-round picks. So that's the key thing here. They do have their own first-round picks that they can offer, and that's good. They have those picks they can offer in that one. But VJ Edgecombe would probably be the thing that if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, that's where the conversation starts. Now, you may not get that, but that's where the conversation probably starts at. And that would be a hell of a player for the Milwaukee Bucks to add in the start of a rebuild on top of getting picks from the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, one of the knocks about the 76ers is that their picks are their own, right? So they're not like other teams that have other teams' picks that they can throw into the trade. Therefore, if they are legitimate contenders, those picks aren't going to necessarily be great, right? But the idea of pairing with Tyrese Maxey and Giannis Antetokounmpo, you probably maybe send Quentin Grimes in that case if he waives his inherent no trade clause. Maybe even Jared McCain. I know his season has been down, but he's a player that's shown promise, especially in his rookie year. Maybe then you can keep VJ Edgecombe, just put more picks there. But if you're able to get that done, it does raise some interesting stakes there, right? Of course, the thing in this, too, is Giannis with all his calf injuries. How do teams weigh that as far as how much future compensation they're willing to give? But it seems like, hey, the market's heating up for Giannis, and it all makes sense. Now, we have a word as well as 2 teams that are not going to be interested. This comes from Tim Bontemps, who says this: I've been told by folks with the Spurs, we're not a home for Giannis. And there's been a lot of smoke going back to the summer, but everything in San Antonio is about the Wemby's timeline, and this is a decade past the Wemby timeline when you bring in Giannis at his age. Also talking about the Rockets, saying this. I've been told that the Rockets will not be bidders. Nobody was under oath, but I've been told that repeatedly, and all I'll say is they have a pretty good track record of shooting me straight. So two teams that at one point in the offseason were rumored to be interested in Giannis seem like they're both off the table now for Giannis. So we'll see. This is going to be a developing situation. You're going to hear teams in and out. You're going to hear bidding back and forth. You're going to hear all this stuff. But as of right now, all the smoke around Giannis Antetokounmpo, it seems like the teams that we can bet are probably going to be in there, the Warriors, Heat, Wolves, Knicks, and then maybe as well the Philadelphia 76ers, because Giannis has interest in them. Maybe they get word on that and they're willing to put an offer together as well. Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Which one of these teams do you think could put together the best offer for Giannis Antetokounmpo? Who makes the most sense? And who gets him closest to being a legit championship contender after a trade? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. Moving off all the Giannis stuff, right? A lot of the talk this season has been about Jayson Tatum potentially returning. And returning this year, and with the Boston Celtics being as good as what they have, how much that makes them a legitimate championship contender once Jayson Tatum makes his return. Well, it seems now like there's some question on if he's actually going to return this season. According to Chris Haynes, who's listed as an NBA insider, Tatum is reevaluating the situation and is considering sitting out the entire 2025-26 season. And that may be because of the state that the team is in. Like, this team is in a really good spot. And if they do move Anthony Simon's contract, they get a center back, make no mistake about it, that is a trade that can absolutely put them in a spot where they can still win the East even without Jayson Tatum. And so maybe Jayson is looking at the situation and saying, hey, I can sit out, completely rehab this year, prepare to get back next season, focus on that, and then we can make our decision and determination on what's going to happen going forward with this team. And we'll see, right? Right now, there's no indication on any type of setback or anything, so that's good. Now, would they report it if not? I don't know. But there's nothing, at least in this reporting, that says he suffered any type of setback. It's just that he's reevaluating that situation, and we'll see. Now, this is against what we've heard from other sources. We heard Brian Windhorst that Jayson Tatum was determined to play. That was as early as December 24th on the episode of the Hoop Collective where Windhorst said that. So this is about a month, a little over a month. And what has changed since then that now he's considering taking out of that? Now, he did take part of an hour-long workout. The media saw him go through shooting drills and everything like that. Even took on a little bit of contact, and it seemed like he was doing pretty good. He was dunking, he was drawing fouls, those type of things. So it raises some questions. Maybe there is a bit of a setback. Maybe he tried to ramp up. There was some unexpected tightness, or maybe his body reacted adverse to it, and he's now sitting there saying, listen, instead of me trying to push back to come back this year, let me just go ahead and go through this whole year-long rehab. I'll see you guys in 2026, 27. That's definitely a possibility for it. Jaylen Brown has taken his game to an absolute new level while Tatum has been out, and we'll see what's going to happen there. But let me know what you guys think down below. Hearing now that Jayson Tatum could very well wait and sit out the entirety of this year, does that change your view on anything with the Celtics this season at all? Or do you still view them as a team, if you do, that can legitimately still come out of the Eastern Conference, even despite the injury? Let me know that down below. Last time before we get out of here, the Los Angeles Lakers and many teams reportedly are gearing up to make a big offer out on Peyton Watson, who is going to be a restricted free agent with the Denver Nuggets this offseason. Now, per what we've heard, is that the Denver Nuggets are focused on trying to keep him, but they aren't going to pay the second tax apron. And that's the question that you have here right now, right? Watson is represented by Rich Paul of Clutch Sports as well. I would not be surprised at all if they're the ones floating this out here to try to drum up the price. But Peyton Watson's having a career year. 14 points, 5 rebounds, almost 2 assists per game in 30 minutes across 44 games this season. He's having a great season so far. And head coach David Adelman said this about it. Peyton has a chance here. If he has a great year, he can put himself where he wants to. That's what our league is about. You prove it every day. You prove it every year. And eventually, if you work hard, you do the right things, you'll benefit. So we'll see. Now, with the Denver Nuggets extending Christian Braun to a 5-year, $125 million contract, does that affect what they want to do with Peyton Watson? That's the question here when it comes down to it. But wait, Watson's having very solid shooting splits when it comes down to it. And they're going to be teams that are lined up to try to get him because, again, you can get a nice young talent. It changes some things for you. So we'll see what the team can do with that one, man. But let me know your thoughts on all of that down below. Let me know your thoughts on the season as a whole this year and how things are going. But that's going to be my time today. If Giannis is really on the move, it changes the entire league. And the Warriors, Heat, Wolves, Knicks are about to turn into a movie at the trade deadline. Drop your best trade prediction down below. Who has the best Giannis trade offer? If you're Milwaukee, do you trade him now or do you wait till the draft? Do you wait till the offseason? Make sure you guys follow us at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform. Send all your questions to NBA Central Show at gmail.com. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central at gmail.com as well. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.